to Across the Goal Line. Once again, with Godissart and Cory Mains today, we have got to talk about the national championship game that went down Monday night. Also, maybe look at the Final Four games as well that were on Saturday. Also, some NASCAR, and also at the end of the show, a little discussion about Tony Romo and what he's doing now with his career.
Yeah.
But of course, NASCAR going to kick off the show this week. I know Brad Keselowski won. I know that much. But Luke, what else do you got for us?
Yeah, Keselowski won for the second time this year. We always kick the show off with NASCAR, it seems like, whenever they're in season. But Martinsville, shortest track on the circuit. Not really that fun to watch because it's the shortest track of the year. Shortest track of the year, excuse me. And then there's some other stuff on Sunday. You know, baseball had opening day. There's only 3 games on. And then WrestleMania was on Sunday night. Pre-show started at 5. Matches didn't start till 6. And then that was from 6 to midnight. So good 6.5 hours.
Ridiculous.
So it was, and we'll get into that a little bit ridiculous. We'll get into that here in our wrestling portion in our next episode, next video, I should say, right after we get done filming this. So my attention was turned towards the baseball opening day games and WrestleMania that started at 5 o'clock. So I really didn't watch race. I had it on the TV, and then I had baseball on my tablet and stuff, but it really wasn't anything spectacular just because we saw a driver pick up his second victory of the year, the first driver to do so this year in Brad Keselowski, as you said, Cory. He won earlier this year at Atlanta, the second race of the year, for the first time ever in Atlanta. He also picked up his first ever win at Martinsville this past weekend. So he won the grandfather clock for the first time in his career. That's the prize that you get when you win at Martinsville. And then also a lot of money goes into your bank account whenever you win a race. So Kyle Busch finished second, followed by Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Austin Dillon. And then once NASCAR came back to the East Coast, they're going back out to the Midwest. They go down to the Lone Star State of Texas for the mile-and-a-half track at Texas Motor Speedway. Actually just got repaved for the first time in a very long time. Should be really interesting. The drivers will have to get used to the new surface. And we'll get into the picks right now. Don't really have a whole lot to talk about NASCAR because we don't talk about the Final Four that happened this past weekend, and then we got a whole lot to talk about with wrestling. I'm going to take somebody who has only won at this track one time during his career, and it was his first ever win in his NASCAR career. Now it's the Monster Energy Cup Series. Back then it was still the Winston Cup Series. And that driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has not won since Phoenix in 2015. The fall of 2015, I believe it was. So hopefully Jr. can get back on track and pick up a victory this Sunday. I believe the race is on Fox. This past weekend was on Fox Sports 1. And then it'll be on Sunday afternoon, unlike normally when it's on Saturday night in the spring in Texas. But then they switched that, so the Texas race in the fall, I believe, will be at night on Saturday night. So I'm taking Dale Earnhardt Jr. to win at Texas Motor Speedway. I don't know who Cory's going to pick, but
I will. You're taking Earnhardt Jr. I'm going to take the guy that drives the number 3, his father's old number, Austin Dillon.
It'd be the first time in a NASCAR now Monster Energy Cup Series race that a number 3 car has won since Dale did when he won his last race before he passed away, which would be very, very spectacular. It'd be awesome for the sport of NASCAR. The number 3 car has gone to victory lane in the Xfinity Series before, driven by Dale Earnhardt Jr., and also in the Truck Series. But it'd be the first time if Austin Dillon does pick up the win. It'd also be his first win in the Monster Energy Cup Series in his young career. So it'd be good for the family of Dale Earnhardt, RCR Richard Childress Racing, and really the sport of NASCAR, because that number 3 car has not been to victory lane since as I said, Dale Earnhardt Sr. Last drove to victory lane right before he passed away. So I'm taking Junior, and then you're taking the car driven by now Austin Dillon of the number 3 Dow Chevy.
Yep.
That was driven by Dale Earnhardt Sr. So.
Yep, and let's jump in now to the conclusion of the NCAA tournament now.
Yeah.
The finals on Monday, but of course, we want to talk about the Final Four games a little bit, I guess. Gonzaga took care of South Carolina.
Pretty handily. I mean, Gonzaga was pretty much up most of the game.
Yeah.
And South Carolina did come back. They went on a 14-0 run.
Yeah, got close there.
And then really after that, Gonzaga just... They didn't run away with it. They only won by a couple, but I believe it was 5. But, both games were good, I thought, on Saturday night. The second game, I thought, was a little bit better. And Oregon had their chances to win in that.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
But, yeah, Gonzaga beat South Carolina and advanced to their first ever national championship game.
Yeah, and then it's the other game I kind of really talk about, I guess. It's the Oregon Ducks taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels on the other side. North Carolina wins by just 1 point, 77-76.
Yeah.
And I feel like a question to be asked here is, because of what happened late in that game, North Carolina got a couple offensive rebounds off of missed free throws. Do you think that Oregon really blew this one?
Yeah, they did. I was watching. They had their chances to win. And my mom, of all people, was watching the game with me. And she doesn't watch sports. She hates it. I think I've said that on here before. And she even was like, they had their chances to win. Like, she's not stupid. Like, she knows what's going on. She just doesn't like watching sports. But, Oregon had the chances to win. They had to foul because they were down, and Carolina had to make their free throws. They did make some of them. They missed some of them, though. And then Oregon had their chances to get the rebound. They should have boxed out better and get the rebound. And they didn't, and North Carolina did 3 times in a row.
Something like that. It was a couple.
It was either 2 or 3 within the last 10 seconds of the game. And, Oregon just blew it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that game was over as it was. North Carolina was going to win, but Oregon came stomping back, and they easily could have won that game.
They did.
Looking back,
they should have,
you know. But something so fundamental comes back to bite you in the ass, you know?
Yeah. It's the little things that, make a difference. I always say free throws are going to either win or lose you games.
And it comes down to that. It's close enough, yeah.
And, that's what it came down to. But the other thing that it came down to is you got to put your ass in somebody, as Tom Janocko would like to say, and, box out and grab the rebound. And so shout out to Tom Janocko there. But Oregon, they had their chances, as I said, and really they blew it. And I think they should have been in the national championship game. The way the semifinal game went, but I was happy that Carolina did win, even though I'm a Duke fan. Because last week I picked Carolina. Yeah. To face South Carolina in the national championship game. That didn't happen, obviously, but North Carolina advanced to face Gonzaga.
Yeah, I know. Watching, or not after the game and stuff, Jordan Bell, who got a lot of praise in the game prior against Kansas with what he did, he kind of blamed himself a little bit about not being able to grab the rebounds, But totally flabbergasting, really, I think, because you think of free throws like offensive rebound on a free throw, that does not happen, It's a very rare occasion as it is.
Because how they're set up.
Yeah, because the defenders already have the advantage already. Yeah. So clearly they did not do what they're supposed to do fundamentally, and ultimately cost them. And looking at the box score, you can see that North Carolina had a load of offensive rebounds. I think Kennedy Meeks himself had 8 offensive rebounds himself. So that right there, rebounding can win or lose games. It's one of those not glory stats, I would have to say, that people kind of look past sometimes,
they
but
forget about it.
It's ultimately a huge deal when you get right down to it.
And as I said, it's the little things that make a difference and either win or lose you games. free throws and rebounding are two of those, and Oregon couldn't get the job done.
Exactly, and then of course, as we already mentioned, Gonzaga taking on North Carolina in the championship game in Phoenix on Monday night, and it wasn't nearly exciting as the game last year between Villanova and North Carolina, but this one had its moments.
It did, and I mean, it almost came down to the ending of last year's. It came close.
Yeah.
But in the end, one team, being North Carolina, just ran away with it a little bit, and
actually making their free throw.
They did, and I'm sure that's all they did on Sunday during practice. I'm sure
probably
that's all Roy Williams had to do.
It'd have been a totally different story if they had lost that game against Oregon, because they had 3 or 4 free throws and they missed all or something at the very end there. So.
And I mean, North Carolina, they were in the national championship game last year against Villanova, and they get revenge this year because
they won.
They lost on a buzzer beater for God's sakes last year, and then this year, it's hard to repeat, but it's hard to. I think it's even harder to get if you lose the year before to get back to the national championship game the following year, and then you win. So that's a good discussion right there. We won't get into that, but North Carolina, Gonzaga had the chances on Monday night too.
Yeah, of course.
But and they were up there for a little bit, and then people were complaining about the officiating. I mean, what can you do about it?
Yeah,
and there's not really a whole lot you can do. It's like arguing balls and strikes for God's sake in baseball.
Kind of a little bit.
And I mean, you can argue with it, but if that's what they call, that's what they call.
Yeah, the whole jump ball. Kennedy makes hands out of bounds though.
Yeah,
before that.
And I mean, especially in a national championship game, if you're the head coach, you don't want to get a technical foul.
Yeah,
because that could if you're arguing, you don't want to get a technical because that could come down to the opposing team's player making free throws, and then your team could lose by 1 or 2 points. Exactly. As I said, that's why I always say it always comes down to free throws.
Yeah,
and if you make them more, if you make 9 out of 10, you're more than likely going to win.
Yeah, I mean, again, fundamentals, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are detriment to.
It's what wins or loses a game. Look at football. It all starts up front.
Exactly.
With the offense and defensive lines. Because if you can't block, you're not going to be able to run the football. Yeah. If you can't block for your quarterback, he's not going to be able to throw the ball 40 yards down the field.
Yeah.
It's fundamentals is what it is. You hit the nail right in the head and coffin.
Yeah, oftentimes it's the things that people don't talk about that actually are paramount to a victory or a loss sometimes. But also, speaking of North Carolina, that whole runner-up to win again, they're only the 4th team to ever do it. It was a Kentucky team, a Duke, also another Carolina team, actually, North Carolina team did it before as well. So it's not happened a lot. So, I mean, what you're saying there is pretty much true if you want to look at history.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those 4 teams, though, those are 4 historical programs.
Yeah, exactly.
So they know what they have to do to, get back to, especially the Final 4.
Yeah.
But then you win in the semifinal and then get to the national championship game, and this is what everybody hopes they do every single year.
Yeah.
But it's tough, and it's really tough because
especially in the college game where you have guys coming and going all the time.
Yeah, the NBA, professional sports. You got guys on a 4 or 5 year contract.
Exactly.
College basketball, they got guys that are, going to the NBA after 1 year. They're one and done, and then they just got to reload. Kentucky's a prime example of it right now for the past 10 years since Coach Cal left Memphis to go to Kentucky. His first class, he had John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. And they're all still playing in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And they're all superstars.
Except for Kidd-Gilchrist.
Well, he was there at the beginning of his career. He's died down. But you look at other players that he's coached at Kentucky for 1 year that have gone to the NBA. Anthony Davis, Eric Bledsoe. Brandon Knight. I believe Knight and Bledsoe played on the same team. I think because one of them stayed for their second year. Anthony, I don't know if I mentioned Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that was the first one.
So, just to name a few of those guys, they're all superstars. And I was watching an interview last week. Coach Cal said he'd obviously like to win national championships in Kentucky. He already has one. But what he'd really like to see is he'd like to have half of the players he coached, half of the all-star team be players from Kentucky. So 12 of the 24 players, whether they're on the East or the West, he'd like them to be from the University of Kentucky. And that'd be, good on his career, and then he'd be happy. And who knows how much longer he'll coach.
Yeah.
He's had his run. He's been around a while. He coached at UMass, Memphis, coached the NBA with the Nets, coaching at Kentucky now. But going back to that, those programs, they know what they have to do to get back to the national championship game. And, if they lose the year before or, if not. So, congrats to North Carolina.
Yeah. Sixth national championship.
And it's the third by Roy Williams. He won in 2005, 2009, and now 2017. Dean Smith only had 2. He even said on Monday night he doesn't even want to be compared to him or have his name mentioned in the same sentence as Dean Smith. Just how he looks up to him. But, congrats to North Carolina. And hopefully, they'll be back in the tournament next year unless something dramatically happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't win another national championship game, go to the national championship game next year, unless they're playing Duke, because then I'd be all Duke. But, congrats to North Carolina. I don't know what else to say.
On a final note, I guess, for the NCAA tournament as a whole, is it John or Joel Berry? Joel Berry. He won the player of the game or player of the Final Four, I think it was. Most outstanding player?
The MVP, the Final Four in the national championship game, I believe it was.
Yeah, and then also Frank Mason, the third one, the Naismith.
Yes, he did.
Making it
from
the
Kansas.
5th or 6th straight year that the Naismith Award winner had not won the national championship. Or it's like 5 or 6 out of the last 7 or something like that. Because I think the last one was Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Who had done that.
And that was 2012 when Kentucky won.
Yeah, so I think it's not like 6 straight, it's like 6 or 7 of the last however many or something like that. Some sort of shocking thing, because like the best players, are considered the best players, are not making it or not winning.
No, but then, they go to the NBA.
Yeah, so I mean...
They're making millions of dollars.
They don't care.
And they don't really care. And they're still going to be, having the spotlight shined on them. So, congrats to Frank Mason, too, and Joel Berry for winning those awards. UConn also lost.
The UConn women
for the first time since November 2014. 111 games.
Yeah, lost on a buzzer beater in overtime to the 2-seed Mississippi State.
That was awful. I was watching that. That was awful.
Yeah, they actually held the Huskies in check.
They did.
Surprisingly.
They did. And that was our question of the day last Friday. I don't know if you guys voted on it, but that was a good game. I caught the tail end of it because I was watching the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the WWE. And that just got over, and then luckily the game had went to overtime, so I was able to catch it. But UConn lost, but Gino Auriemma knew they were going to lose, just a matter of when. And they'll get another streak going. They've lost before, and the next streak they had was longer than the one before. So UConn lost, and the Mississippi State
lost.
They played South Carolina in the national championship game on Sunday night. They actually flipped the women's Final Four this year. It's normally on Sunday and Tuesday, and it was on Friday, Sunday this year. I don't know if that's because no one watches the national championship game on Tuesday night or not, but I know I don't. But Mississippi State became, I believe, it was like the 5th or 6th team in a row after they beat UConn. They lose their very next game. Now I don't know what that's all about, but probably just too excited that they beat UConn.
Perhaps,
but that is what it is too. So, congrats to South Carolina too, by the way, for winning the women's national championship. And then TCU won the NIT.
Yeah,
Jamie Dixon.
Their team, I had possibly winning that going in, especially with what they did in the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah,
beating Kansas.
Kansas in one of the semifinal games.
No, it was a quarter.
Was it a quarter?
Yeah, because the finals were West Virginia and Iowa State.
So, Jamie Dixon, he coached at Pitt for a while, and then he goes back to his alma mater down in Fort Worth at TCU. There'll be a team next year to be on the lookout for. They could have made the tournament this year, but obviously weren't good enough. They ended up making the NIT, and then they win. With the NIT, you get home games. Mm-hmm. Until the semifinal games, you go to Madison Square Garden and then the final. But TCU won the NIT. Women's was won by South Carolina, and then the men's was won by North Carolina. So
Carolina sweep.
And then well, that and college baseball. Coastal Carolina, I was watching the Cubs Cardinals game last night. Coastal Carolina, remember, they won the men's baseball championship national championship last year. So three Carolina teams winning national championships, and I'm sure the Division II and Division III level.
They also won lacrosse, did they not? Also, if I remember correctly, North Carolina. They won lacrosse.
Yeah, they did. We talked about lacrosse last year too. Whenever those were going on down in Philly, forgot about that.
Been a dominating year for the Carolinas in general.
Yeah, Sweet Caroline. Also a good song by Neil Diamond, but I don't have anything else to say about
that is
the Final Four. I mean, college basketball season is always good. It's hard to believe it's come and gone already, because it starts during football season, and then football gets there. We only have 3 months of college basketball, and then that's done, and then baseball starts up. Mm-hmm. And then by the time we know it, football's going to be here again. Yeah, it's just a cycle. And I know I've talked about it on here before, so congrats to all the winners. Whatever you won, congrats.
Every winner.
So I don't care if it's most outstanding player or just a simple
$5 gift card somewhere.
Yeah, $5. That's a good one. Where'd my cap go for that? I don't know. Or just a participation award. I really don't care. Congrats to whoever won anything, anytime in your life. Just not this year, but congrats to everybody. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're gonna end the show today with a kind of mini discussion with our question of the week this week regarding Tony Romo. If you don't know, I think this just broke last night or something like that. Yesterday
morning.
But Tony Romo retiring from pro football and now going to be an announcer on CBS, taking over for Phil Simms.
Thank God.
So I guess
Thank God.
It must be Jim Nantz and Tony Romo now.
It is.
Which, I mean, an interesting trade-off, I guess.
Should be us two instead of them.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Nantz. I mean,
he's not bad, but they could probably do somebody better than him.
But Phil Simms, he's a bit. I don't think a lot of people liked Phil Simms.
No, he'll probably still be calling games for CBS. He's just not calling the main national televised game.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what Tony Romo's going to add. Maybe good insight whenever someone makes a stupid decision, because he seems to be an expert in that, making dumb decisions.
Or if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, someone gets hurt.
He'll know exactly what to say.
Quarterback throws a late interception to cost his team the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an expert in all that. He'll tell you how it is. But the question regarding this is kind of course.
So shout out to CBS. You better get him on board with saying stuff like that.
But the question is in regards to kind of because, of course, he got replaced in Dallas by Dak Prescott this past year.
A fourth-round pick last year.
And so his kind of where he's going to play next season over this offseason so far is in limbo a bit. So the question is kind of, do you think this whole retirement thing is I'm done with football, he's saying, or is it more of the Cowboys, I'm not playing for the Cowboys anymore, I'm just going to quit type of deal? That's the question of the week this week.
I mean, he's played with the Cowboys his whole career. Who knows if he doesn't want to, if that's just the main thing, he doesn't want to go play for another team. He wants to be remembered as a Cowboy. You look at Aikman, he played for the Cowboys his whole career. You look at Staubach, he played for the Cowboys his whole career. I thought Romo would go to Houston, to be honest with you, after a while, after him not signing anywhere, because they need a quarterback. But I said before, O'Brien must be real comfortable with Tom Savage as a starting quarterback. Unless, he's going to draft somebody, or there's still a guy up with the New York Jets by the name of Christian Hackenberg he could trade for. But I thought Romo was going to go to Houston if he would have, if the Cowboys would have cut him, but they were trying to get something in return for him. Denver and Houston weren't willing to give anything up for him. So, really, I think that's the main reason why it came down to CBS and Fox then, because they both offered him contracts. And chose CBS because I think it had to come down to Jerry Jones deciding on, whether he wanted Romo to go to Fox or CBS, because Aikman's already on Fox. You don't want two Cowboys on Fox. You want one on both, because Cowboys games are going to be on both CBS and Fox. You got, if you want to listen to Tony Romo or do you want to listen to Troy Aikman, you have your choice now.
I guess.
So I don't think Jerry Jones had anything to do with it, but I think Romo, he'll do a good job. Will he come back? I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't escalate into a Brett Favre situation. I don't want to really see that again. Favre should have stayed with the Packers his whole career. He shouldn't have. Well, he drafted by the Falcons, but I think he shouldn't have retired so early and then, decided to come back. And that's what, hopefully this doesn't turn into that type of situation. I think it could, if he doesn't start to like his new gig at CBS, and then CBS brings back Phil Simms, which would be awful, but...
how can you not like his new gig? They elevating him to the top spot, essentially, already.
Yeah.
Because, true. I mean, Phil Simms and Jim Nantz, they're always the primetime callers for the biggest game on CBS. Yeah. So, I mean, he's pretty much already at the very top. So I don't know how he wouldn't like it unless he's just not into the whole calling the games thing, I guess, would be the only thing.
Yeah.
Not his positioning on the ladder, I guess, more so of his interest in it. But I look at this situation, it kind of makes me think back to when the Chargers were announcing going to LA and stuff. Phillip Rivers not wanting to move, that type of thing.
Well, this came up 2 years ago. Whenever the Chargers were thinking about moving in a couple years, now they have, and it was for the 2015 draft. Tennessee was picking at number 2 after Tampa Bay at 1. Tampa took Jameis, and then there's a decision that had to be made. Does San Diego trade Phillip Rivers to Tennessee, where he's from, for that number 2 pick? San Diego takes Marcus Mariota. You have a better player. Well, I shouldn't say better player. They're both up there with being good. A better marketing type of situation with Marcus Mariota if he wanted to move to LA. Now they still have Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
You take a guy who's been in the league for how long, or you take a new rookie, to sell tickets. So that didn't happen, obviously, because Mariota's been in Tennessee for the past 3 years now, and then Rivers hasn't been able to get things rolling with the Chargers, and now I don't know if they were the right team to go to LA with the Rams, because both teams, we talked about it last week, both teams suck at the moment.
Yeah, making moves, and then you look at the Raiders who are making the move. They're actually good right now.
Yeah.
So you have a good
team. But they won't be going to Vegas until 2020. But they might not even be playing in Oakland this year. They could be playing in San Francisco with the 49ers, or down in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, if the Oakland fans, cause a big stir and don't want to, they want to boycott the team, with the move to Vegas. So we could see that as well. But going back to what we were talking about, you know, you were getting into, I interrupted you, you're getting into, you see, you said, this reminded you of the Chargers moving to LA with how Romo is going from football to commentary.
Well, because there was like things about Philip Rivers not wanting to uproot his family and stuff because they've been living in San Diego for so long, and that maybe he will retire. Like that was a question. Like, is he going to retire? So like that's kind of where that's coming from. That whole because Tony Romo's kind of like retiring. What seemed it can be construed as like he's not the starter for the Cowboys anymore, so he's just done type of deal, and that's kind of similar in a way. And then that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think with that is they're kind of similar things, although Rivers is of course sticking around, of course. With, not San Diego, Los Angeles now.
Yeah, it's a little hard to get used to.
Yeah, that type of thing is hard to get used to when team changes, you know.
Well, especially with the Chargers and now the Raiders going to Vegas. You know, the Rams have been in LA before. We know some people know the Rams.
That is
as the St. Louis Rams or the LA Rams. Everybody knows the Chargers as the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
You know, they did play in LA for a year back in the 60s, and then moved to San Diego. But no one remembers them as the Los Angeles Chargers. So it's going to take some time to get used to of us calling them now the Los Angeles Chargers. And it's going to have to take some time to get used to calling the Raiders the Las Vegas Raiders, because they're still going to be the Oakland Raiders for a couple more years.
Yeah. But that is the question of the week this week.
Yeah.
Do you think that this whole Tony Romo thing is like legit? Do you think he's retiring because he just wants to be done with football? Or do you think it's possibly kind of I'm not playing for the Cowboys anymore, so I'm just going to retire type of deal? But nevertheless, that's going to wrap it up for this portion of Across the Goal Line. We're going to be hopping over and doing some wrestling, as the biggest weekend in wrestling was upon us here this past weekend. WrestleMania, also NXT TakeOver, Hall of Fame, and also the Raw and SmackDowns after the WrestleMania, which is always a big deal. SmackDown was this time, at least, because it's live and all that. But join us in a little bit. We'll be back with that very shortly.